You are moving away from limitations, from oppression, from pain, from sorrow, from shame, from lack over and into victory, into joy, rejoicing, abundance and favor. Wherever you have been tied down, held down, suppressed, chained or held back, it is your time. You are crossing over and you are stepping into a new phase and a new season. People may have mocked you, and no one is seeing anything good in you. They may have ignored you existed or made life difficult for you. But today, I announce to you that you are crossing over and away from this experience. You are stepping into a season of recognition, a season of joy, a season of the announcement. God has remembered you. God has decided to wipe the shame and reproach, and it is happening now, not tomorrow. God is moving with you from that dejected and rejected state to the new land and place He is taking you to. God can do as you have prayed, waited, and longed for the release and shift in your life. God has heard you and has decided to move you into the new phase and new place. You must trust Him in the movement. You are crossing over and taking over. The people of Israel were standing in front of the Red Sea, and behind were the enemies, still trying to come and take them back to slavery. They were so afraid and confused. It was like the world would crash on them. It was like the end had finally come, and they wished they were left to die in Egypt. But the word came from Moses that they should stand and see the salvation of God. And truly, they stood and saw the salvation of God. They saw the deliverance by God. He made way through the sea, making way through the water for them, for all to pass, and dealt greatly with the enemy that also wanted to chase them into the sea. This is the same thing God is doing for you today. This is what God wants for you this season. He is creating a way for you. He is making a way through that challenge, through the pain, through that situation where men thought you would be swallowed and suppressed forever. God is pulling you out and lifting you over to the other side of life. I do not know the situation or circumstances that you are facing. I do not know the kind of condition you are in now. I do not know the kinds of chains you have been placed in. What I know today is that God has seen it all, and He has stepped in to give you victory. He has stepped in to pull you out. It is not your battle, it is His. He would destroy them and place you far above all the things that held you captive before, and you would never see them again. This was also the experience of the people of Israel. Before their eyes, they saw their tormentors, their cruel masters, all thrown into the sea by the mighty hand and act of God. They and their chariots were thrown into the sea, while the people of Israel crossed over. This is what He would do for you this season. You are crossing over against those things that mocked you and made you a shadow of yourself before your eyes. God would turn things around in a moment. He would lift you to the other side. For every crossing, there are prerequisites. For every lifting, there is a price to pay. The things of God are easy and last forever. The devil might give you wealth and fame, but would take your heart, peace, and joy away. You would not even live long enough to enjoy what He gives, because what He gives has no guarantee. Only what God gives can last, and you would live to enjoy it. He is not asking for much from you. He does not want to give you a yoke or burden that you cannot carry. Instead, He has come to remove and take away the chains, burden, and tag the enemy has placed on your life. While you wait for God to hand you and cross over with you to the other side, you must be prepared for the move, or else you would be swallowed or held back by the forces beside the sea. The people of Israel greatly prepared for the shift to the other side. They were not just there waiting for God to come and move them. They prepared, and when God made a move, they headed for the other side. What preparations have you made for the crossing, and how prepared are you for the crossing? One of the things required for the crossing of the Red Sea by God is preparation and waiting in prayer. While they waited on God for the rescue, the Bible recorded that they lifted their voice to heaven and kept praying to God for their rescue. This showed their total belief in God as the only one that could rescue them and help them come across from slavery to the promised land. You must also take it as it is. You need to lift your voice and cry to Him to come to your aid and help you to the other side. When Elisha was to cross the river, after Elijah had left, he said, "Where is the God of Elijah? Which God are you calling? Who are you crying to? Who are you praying to for the crossing?" In that situation you find yourself and desire a crossing to the other side, you must call unto God to come to your aid and rescue. He did not forget you, but when you do not call Him, it may mean you are comfortable in the situation. The people of Israel were enjoying the land of Egypt until things changed, and they cried to Him. If you desire a change and a crossing to the other side, you must lift your voice and cry to Him to make the crossing come to pass. Another preparation needed for the crossing is the preparation of the heart, and this means faith towards Him who is to cross you. They were not in doubt when they were told to keep moving down to the water. They kept moving towards it. What is God telling you to do? It may sound or seem crazy, but you need to obey and do it. This is the secret to walk over and cross over. You need to totally trust His leadings. What is He asking you to do? How is He asking you to do it? Probably He is asking you to sow the last resources in your hands, like the widow of Zarephath. You must trust His leadings and His words. You cannot expect someone you do not trust to cross over with Him. It is a test of your faith, and you must not fail this test. Most times, before God can cross you, He would examine to see if you are and would still be faithful to Him. When God gave Abraham a son, He requested him to lay down his son for him, and Abraham obeyed. When God saw that, He lifted Abraham and away from the sea. It is in faith that you lay down those things. It is not because He needs them, but to test your heart and see the faith you have in Him. Another preparation required for God to cross you over to the other side and over the Red Sea is the preparation of character. Every resource needed for the journey must be achieved. This could be learning something, learning a skill, or how to do something excellently. Do you trust God to move you from singlehood to being married? Then you must learn what it takes to have a successful marriage. Do you trust Him to cross you from a debtor to a wealthy and prosperous person and owner of resources? Then you must learn and master business, management, and investment. Whatever you trust God to change and bring to reality, you must learn what it takes to have such things. God commanded the people of Israel to collect from the people of Egypt all they would need for the journey, and when they entered the land, they got all these things. You do not expect to cross over and begin to learn. You learn them before crossing over. Whatever you are trusting Him to lift you up and away from, you must learn what it takes to handle what you are requesting. God does not want mismanagement. He does not waste of resources or gifts. He is ready to cross you over to the other side of the river, but have you prepared yourself adequately by learning the skills and techniques required to handle what he would give you. Elisha saw how his master Elijah struck the water with his cloak and left it there. When he came there, he repeated what his master did. You need to learn how successful people operate. Learn the skills and get what is required to get there. God is certainly crossing you over the Red Seas of life. He is taking you over to the other side. Pray and keep praying. Trust Him and have faith in Him. Prepare yourself with the relevant skills and requirements needed, and you would be celebrated and make news when you cross over.